This is Dan Fornick with PlayerProfiler.com, and today I want to talk about some of the offensive line winners and losers heading into the 2024 season based on the moves they made during this offseason. One of the big winners is probably the Carolina Panthers. Last year, their offensive line struggled. Ike Ekwonu, their left tackle, developed as a run blocker. He came out of college as a really good run blocker, but he continued to struggle in pass protection. He gave up the most sacks, which is 11, and pressures, 44. On the team last season. But the bigger problem with their offensive line was on the interior. Their center, Bradley Bozeman, was a bad scheme fit. He played over 1,100 snaps, but he gave up 8 sacks and 32 pressures right in the face of the quarterback. They also had a lot of injury issues at guard. 5 different guards played over 250 snaps. None of them had a PFF grade above 58, and that grouping combined to give up 13 sacks and 104 pressures. Carolina understood that deficiency, and they attacked it hard this offseason. One of the first things they did was sign Robert Hunt, who is probably the best interior offensive line free agent on the market. They gave him a record 5 years, $100 million. He's the second highest paid guard in the NFL. His skill is ideally pass blocking. He had a career high PFF grade last season, 77.1. He had a career high pass blocking grade, 74.5. He gave up just 5 pressures on 329 pass protection snaps. They also added Damian Lewis from the Seattle Seahawks. He has given up just 97 career pressures on over 2,000 career pass protection snaps. He's just a solid veteran. He's not going to wow you, but he's an instant upgrade over anything they had last season. They also are going to do that and use that to move Austin Corbett, their guard last year, to center. He was struggling coming off a knee injury, but he's been a very good player for most of his career. All of these moves make them a winner because they have a short quarterback who isn't very mobile. Bryce Young needs to be in the pocket, and in order to do that, they need to establish the pocket. They've upgraded the most important part on their offensive line, and this could be a very good unit heading into next season. Another team that won this offseason is the New York Jets. Last year, their offensive line was decimated by injuries. 10 different linemen played over 200 snaps for the Jets last year. Only 3, their left guard Laken Tomlinson, left tackle Mekhi Becton, and center Joe Tippmann, played over 500 snaps. Their best offensive lineman last year was Elijah Vera Tucker. He only had a PFF grade just above 61, and he only played 250 snaps. So ultimately, they struggled in a lot of different places. The combination of Laken Tomlinson and Mekhi Becton gave up over 100 pressures combined. And so the Jets are in a win-now window, and so they attacked this offensive line with some win-now moves. They added a veteran guard, John Simpson, in free agency. He's a solid addition. He's going to upgrade that position. They also traded for Morgan Moses from the Baltimore Ravens. He struggled with injuries a little bit last season, but he's a significant upgrade to the right tackle that they had on the roster. And finally, they added Tyron Smith. They were able to get him at somewhat of a discount, 1 year, $6.5 million. And that's mainly because of his injury issues. He was healthy last year, but over the last 7 seasons, he struggled to stay on the field. Even with that, though, he has almost as many seasons giving up 1 or fewer sacks as he does giving up 2 or more. He's an instant upgrade. He's one of the most talented left tackles when he's healthy, and so the team is going to hope that he can be healthy. In case he can't be, they also made a really smart move in the NFL draft, taking Olu Fashanu in the first round. Olu played at Penn State. He never surrendered a sack in his year starting. He has over 1,200 snaps at left tackle, and he is ready to play day one. He just may not need to. If the team needs to kick him into guard, he can play guard. Or if they just want him as injury insurance for Tyron Smith, he can do that well. And if there is an injury, there's not going to be a significant drop-off in play. One team that I think we can identify as a loser this offseason would probably be the Miami Dolphins. They were extremely cash-strapped, and that stopped them from adding really anything of significance to their offensive line. They had to let Connor Williams, their center, walk. He's been one of the best centers in the NFL over the last 2 seasons, and while he did suffer a torn ACL last year, there's nobody really on the roster that they could use to backfill. They went and got Aaron Brewer in free agency from the Tennessee Titans, but he's just not Connor Williams, and while he's a solid veteran, he just isn't going to bring that same level of play. They also, more importantly, had to let homegrown talent Robert Hunt walk. Hunt has gotten better every single year. He's coming off a career best season, and he never had a PFF grade below 66 in his career. He allowed just 80 pressures in over 2,000 pass protection snaps during his time with Miami. They drafted Patrick Paul in the draft. He's more of a backup, an insurance policy for Teron Armstead at left tackle, who has his own injury issues. Miami's offensive line could really struggle. They're hoping that players like Isaiah Wynn, who was very limited at left guard last season, and even when he was healthy, had just a 47.8 PFF grade, and Robert Jones, who's been a rotational player for his entire career, they're hoping that guys like that can replace what they're losing. That's usually a bad bet to make, and by doing that, they're taking away some significant depth. These are some of the winners and losers from this offseason. If you want more, check out the article on playerprofiler.com today.